How you doing, boys?
Hello.
Doing good.
What's happening?
Actually, you know what? No, I'm doing awful. I've spent the last
Oh, no,
2
here we go.
days stuck in a blizzard with 7 other
What?
people. Yeah,
Oh shit,
you know.
that's crazy.
Yeah, been
How
bad.
Navajo. I like when Walton goes Navajo.
Hmm?
He grabs the blanket and he goes,
Navajo.
"Yep, Navajo."
Welcome to the Three Grandmas podcast, everyone. We'll be talking about a movie. We have my friend Pragpro, and
Hello.
looks like Mickey's disappeared.
It's not Mickey.
And he's
It's
back.
time. It's time. Jesus Christ! I hate that. I hate that.
I mean,
I thought he liked
nicknames.
it. I thought he was
Nicknames
into
have
it.
a life of their own.
No.
No, he has to pretend
That's-
to like it, so he hopes it goes away.
No, I don't like it.
So the first
I don't like
few
it at all.
sessions, he's like, "Haha, that's a good one, guys. I love it."
I don't like it at all.
And then it's like later on, it's like, "Oh Jesus, if they call me
it
that."
like settles in. It seeps into his
And
bones. The
receiving.
hatred.
You should have an attitude like
Hatred.
Rascal. Rascal never is bothered by anything.
How we
Daisy
doing?
Dahmer goo.
Doing all right.
I'm JC, by the way. I like movies. My cat's coming in. And yeah,
These cats are out of control.
I'm excited to talk about this movie specifically. Had to take an extra day just to marinate on it.
Mm-hmm.
We have a special guest. Olive.
Oh,
She's going to be
Hello,
talking
Olive.
about it as well.
Hello, Olive.
Olive's a W. MJ's a L. Those are just facts.
So I just hit leave right here to end the cold call. Right? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
listen.
Yeah. Just that button there.
Yeah. Just hit the button. Hit the
I
big
mean, we
red
have
button.
Olive now. Did Olive see the film?
No, she didn't. She wasn't in the room.
Ooh.
Yeah.
She wasn't okay
Yeah.
with the language used in the movie.
Yeah, she
We're
was
probably
shaking
gonna
her
have to
head
get
in
into that, right?
disapproval. Well, we can't talk
I
about
mean-
can't say the actual words.
We're gonna say
Well,
it
I mean, I
the
can
amount of
talk
times
about
that they
anything.
said it.
Why don't we introduce the movie? Why don't we
Oh,
just
yeah.
introduce the movie? No
What-
one knows
what-
what
what do
we're
we
talking
watch?
about. We're talking
Wait,
about Disney's
You haven't
Peter
even introduced yourself,
Pan.
boys.
The Peter
What's
Pan
going on?
remake called
We're-
I introduced myself. Wait
I'm-
for you.
I am Time, and I am not logged into the Three Grandmas Twitch to change the description. That's me.
I can do that. I can
Yes.
do that right now.
But I'm Time. I'm Time. I'm mod
It's your
for
fucking
Lance from
deal.
Saints. That's my that's my
I'm
claim to
You got
super
fame.
your own
mod for
stream,
Lance
though.
from
Didn't you
Saints.
just become an affiliate or something?
I did. I just became an affiliate. Yeah.
You gonna leave that? You're not gonna
So
mention
that was fun. That was fun.
That's a secret.
Mm-hmm.
JC,
Secret,
you're an
yeah.
affiliate, right?
Secret stream.
No, I'm not an affiliate because I don't stream.
I'm like 75 years old and I'm affiliate. What's the matter with you, JC?
I don't stream. Sorry.
Let's introduce the movie.
Yeah. Well, you haven't introduced yourself.
Yeah, it's yourself. Yeah.
Pragpro.
Coming off a 13-hour stream, we have
I mean, that's light work
He
for a
was
player.
ready to
for a
do
player.
this still.
We streamed
Unbelievable.
5 different games. We streamed Dave the Diver. We streamed FIFA, of course. We're always going to stream FIFA. And then, we did Disco Elysium for 5 or 6 hours.
Mhm.
Time really enjoyed that. He was like, please keep playing. I can't have to see what happens in the labor dispute. And I'm like, no, Time. We have to play Dave the
There's
Diver
a
now.
labor
Not
dispute.
everyone likes
Oh my
politics.
god.
It's
Yeah.
nothing but a labor dispute.
Oh,
My hands
definitely-
are full of
definitely
honey
not
with
playing
this
that
game.
Definitely
I
not
love
playing
it. It's so fun. It's probably my favorite game ever.
It's
But
really
yeah, we're doing good. I'm Pragpro on all social medias, Twitter and Twitch. Pragpro.
Yeah, well done. So we are talking about a film that I picked for this week.
A racist screed. Kidding. Kidding.
This is Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight. I am
About Twitch.
I picked this film because, well, basically, I was looking at the films we'd done so far. I was looking at the genre of films we'd done so far, and like last week, when we were talking about Pirates of the Caribbean, we were talking about how like much Gore Verbinski was such a big fan of westerns and how he used like the Western language in a pirates film. And I was like, we should probably watch a Western. So I picked probably one of my favorite Westerns of all time is Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight. It's probably my favorite film in his as well. And I also felt like it was a good pick because I think the Hateful Eight kind of gets a little undersold in Quentin Tarantino's like filmography. I feel like Django Unchained overshadows it. I feel like Pulp Fiction overshadows it. I feel like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood overshadows it. And yeah, I just wanted to discuss this specific film as our first, and I'm sure not the last time we talk about Quentin Tarantino on this podcast. Can you
remind me what film did he make after Pulp Fiction? Was that that was that little film he made with De Niro? Jesus Christ.
I thought it was Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown. Yeah, that's another one that's a little film that he made, that doesn't get a lot of attention.
It's the only Tarantino film I haven't seen, so it's probably one that needs to be discussed later. But
listen,
for now,
I'll tell you something about... Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
For now, we're talking about The Hateful Eight. It's a film I saw when it came out in cinemas, and I was blown away by it. As you know, I'm a big fan of a chamber piece, like the first film that I chose, Coherence. I like a chamber piece. It's all set in one location. I love just like nice character dynamics, like playing off each other, stuff like that. Like this is the stuff that really is the meat of filmmaking for me. And I thought this was a good choice for this week.
Just to kind of build off that the undersoldness of the Hateful Eight, it is one of his worst rated movies.
Yes, correct.
Which is interesting.
Not as badly rated as Death Proof, I don't think.
No.
But yeah. It's
what's the score?
74,
on Rotten
I think.
Tomatoes, it is 75.
That's bananas.
75. Yeah.
That's because he's competing with himself. Those people who downgraded it as this movie are comparing it to Reservoir Dogs. In many ways, this kind of is a reflection of Reservoir Dogs, because what he loves to do is create villains and anti-heroes and put them all in a fucking cage together.
That's what Quentin Tarantino in one does. Arena, just has them talk to each other.
And his dialogue is impeccable.
Yeah.
His dialogue
obviously. Yeah, I mean, you can't talk about Tarantino without talking about his dialogue. It's just unbelievable what he comes up with the characters that he creates.
And they're bad guys, so they can say bad things, and that's a lot more fun for the writer.
Absolutely.
And it's in the historical context, right? That's what it was like in fucking Wyoming back in the day.
Yes.
I mean, not exactly. Of course, it's a film, and it's been brought to the most dramatic point of that setting and time and place, but there's a lot of fucking nasty people running around in the woods back then, right?
Absolutely. And it's really interesting, the production of this film, because Quentin Tarantino wrote the script and then the script got leaked. So originally he wasn't going to make it because everyone had read the script already. But apparently the script that leaked had a different ending, so he changed the ending for the film. But so originally he wasn't going to make it, and he just had he originally was going to make it a novel after it leaked, and then at some point he just decided, fuck it, I'll make it, let's do it.
I don't know if you mentioned this, but didn't he get, once he cast it, did he do it, like get a sound stage and block everything?
Yes.
Did you mention that?
Correct. Yeah. No, I didn't mention that, but yes, he absolutely did.
So they basically did it like a Broadway play would be produced, right?
Yeah.
You get a space, you block it out.
Yeah.
But then he's so good with film, and I don't know if he used all kinds of tracking, putting the cameras on tracks, because there's a lot of shots, where you can tell it's on, some sort of mechanisms and stuff like that. It would be interesting to see how he laid out his camera work for that stage.
I know the exterior stuff was shot on location, and then the interior stuff was obviously switched to a soundstage. And I just think the camera work in this film is fantastic. Like the amount that he gets out of just indoor, like just one setting indoors, he gets so much, like,
and it's on film too, it's not digital, and he shouts out Panavision in the opening, right? It's like, I don't know the exact name of the film, but he did the old school
70
and
millimeter.
You have the Ennio Morricone, you have the Ennio Morricone soundtrack swelling over the freezing cold. You could feel how cold it is. and how desperate people are to get the fuck out of that cold. You know,
it's also Tarantino's first original film to have an original soundtrack, which is interesting. All of his other films previously, he used obviously sampling and like different tracks, like from
It was
history
an Oscar-winning soundtrack.
Won best.
I mean,
it's
should be.
Ennio Morricone's first Oscar win for best score.
That's crazy.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And he only recorded 50 minutes of original music. Like the rest of it is from The Exorcist 2 and unreleased tracks from The Thing. Yeah.
He never got the respect when he was in his prime, right? When he was doing the spaghetti westerns with Clint Eastwood, and they were doing Outlaw Josie Wales, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then later, maybe not until the 90s, did he garner respect.
Yeah, like speaking of Morricone's score, can we talk about like that opening shot, just like on the Jesus statue as it's like pulling away? It's like slowly pulling away. The music swelling. You see all the title sequences obviously going on, and they time it perfectly so that when the Jesus statue is like properly framed up, that's when the carriage runs past, and then we cut to the next scene. Like just the slow tracking and how close it gets. Could you imagine like the focus puller on the camera having to keep that Jesus statue like in focus the whole time? Because they pull back on that Jesus statue so far back until the carriage runs past.
He's showing off. He's saying, "I'm still a film director."
Yeah,
there's so many shots in this too that every time I see it, I would just shake my head and go, "That's so Tarantino," you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was like, it wasn't like, "Oh, it's Tarantino." It was like, "My God, that's Tarantino."
Yeah,
everything from the costumes, you know. I mean, even it's a Western, but it's a Tarantino Western, so the costumes kind of reflect that too. You have the oversized bear jackets and the, it's just mix and match, and it just looks very, very cool.
Yeah, and I also love that Tarantino doesn't cut corners like with the dialogue, because I know a lot of directors would want to cut to the action a lot quicker, but instead he has them stop. He has the carriage stop. He points the gun at him. He tells him to take the guns out, put it on the rock. All of the small things that he has to do to make sure
it builds tension too in the scene.
Yeah,
you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's like an Agatha Christie mystery breaks out in the Western,
Yeah.
And because essentially it's kind of a bit of a detective story in parts, right?
Yeah.
Marquise is trying to figure out, who these people are and if he can take his prisoner. Marquess, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Major Mark
I'm going to say Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson character, in case people haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah.
He's kind of playing a detective, but none of these guys are heroes. None of these guys. Tarantino doesn't give a care if you like these people. In fact, he doesn't. That's not the interesting part to him. The interesting part is that they're villains. Every single person's a villain.
I mean, I have a lot of respect for Major Mark West. I mean, he's obviously gone through a lot in his life, but he's not a perfect person. Obviously, he's killed people for
slapping
no
the
reason.
shit out of his prisoner, right?
No, Mark. No, I'm talking about Samuel L. Jackson's character.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's probably the most virtuous.
Samuel L. Jackson
John
doesn't
Ruth
smack.
No, John Ruth.
He punches her in the face.
Oh no, John Ruth does. Right.
Yes.
But he's right. You're right.
Yeah. But Samuel L. Jackson, he does punch her in the face when she spits on his Lincoln letter, which is
true.
Very, very.
That's
funny.
a funny scene. And I love that how Tarantino mixes in slapstick and comedy. Like there's that scene, and then there's the bit with the board and the door. You have to kick the door open,
right?
And then to close it. And then Tarantino's patient with that.
I'm sure
I'm sure he told those actors, just do it real, right, and do it every time. And it's not. And
I bet he got real
the humor
snow
comes
as well,
from
so they wanted to. I'm pretty sure it was real snow as well. On
tell you
set,
what I
so
believe.
There were some scenes where they had to bring in fake snow.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah. But
just
that's
for
what
full disclosure.
mean. Yeah.
For full disclosure, real quick, JC, sorry. You guys watched the regular cut.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, then I watched the extended edition. So
can you before
what's
we
in there?
get into it? Yeah, can
Nothing.
you talk about
literally
what's the extra 20 minutes then?
I know
it's 25 minutes, right?
Credits. That's
No,
literally
but
it.
that's not including credits. There's extra stuff
It's
other than
there's
credits.
there's like minute differences where they get into the scenes kind of play out a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning, further along, I'll
There's
tell
a
you what it is.
longer
But
conversation and
yeah,
stuff.
longer conversations. Yeah. Towards the
Yeah.
end, there's more conversations. There's an
There's not an
additional
extra scene or anything, right?
there is an extra scene at the end that provides a little bit more context to certain characters.
Okay.
Kind of like motivations, but you know how they align
Yeah.
already, but it shows you more like one character's thought process and kind of how smart they are.
Because watching this film, I don't think it needed anything else. I think it's like pretty perfectly clear cut in like motivations and everything. And I kind of like how it bridges the divide between obviously a Confederate sympathizer and a African American bounty hunter towards the end. They kind of learn to respect each other, and
they married after that in the sequel, Hateful Eight too. Love and Hateful.
Hateful Eight. It's me and you.
They definitely died. There's no way they survived.
Yeah, they died.
Zero chance.
You know, the jarring part of this movie is seeing Harvey Weinstein in 11 point on the title screen.
Can we get a shout out to Harvey Weinstein?
Great job.
Great job again. You did it, buddy.
Oh my God, I brought my grandma.
You did it again.
Don't bring your grandma to Hateful Eight.
No, we don't shout out Harvey Weinstein.
No, we're not shouting out Harvey
Weinstein on this podcast.
Probably the last film he produced before he went away on vacation.
I think it was, yeah. And then like Tarantino immediately was like his next film.
So what you did is you put commissary on Harvey Weinstein this week by buying.
I did, yeah. He was running low.
Oodles of noodles.
He had to get all his food.
He gets a big order though, doesn't he? He gets a big garbage pack full of Fritos.
Can I also the cast in this movie, like just like who they cast for each character is perfect. So apparently originally Daisy Domergue was going to be played by Jennifer Lawrence, but she was too busy on Joy.
Wasn't it the table read they had? Wasn't Amber Tamblyn the one that read for her?
She read for it, yeah.
Okay.
But for the actual film,
Amber Tamblyn was too soft for Daisy Domergue.
They were looking at Jennifer Lawrence, but she was too busy doing Joy.
That would have been sick. That would have been interesting.
It would have been interesting. I think Jennifer Jason Leigh kills it.
Oh yeah, bro, she kills it.
Did she win the Oscar? I know she was nominated.
No,
but she win the Oscar for this?
I don't know.
No, she supported.
Yeah, she did a fantastic job.
I don't know.
I mean,
I know her name, but I don't know any other movie she's been in.
Have you seen Annihilation?
Rush?
No.
Okay. Rush, she was in that, yeah.
Wasn't that the cocaine? They're like DEA agents, and they're like trying to break up a heroin drug cartel, and they get. She was in that movie. I don't recall what it was called, but it's all about. Yeah, she's good. She's got an epic career.
I feel like I should know her from more older movies but I just recognize her for more recent ones like Annihilation.
Well, let me take a peek here. First of all, Fast Times with Ridgemont High.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Yeah. Last Exit to Brooklyn, Miami Blues, Backdraft, Single White Female. Single White Female is a banger.
Yeah.
Single White Female is her best movie.
Was she the lead in that?
Yes. No, she was the crazy one. I think she played
okay.
It's about a lady who has a roommate move in with her in an apartment.
I understand it though.
Right. And so then Jennifer Jason Leigh's character tries to become her. Totally replicate everything she did. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And then Hudsucker Proxy, she won a Golden Globe for her portrayal of Dorothy Parker.
It's a bit like Persona, the one you were just talking about. You seen Ingmar Bergman's Persona?
I haven't seen it in a long time, but yeah, it's definitely. I would consider that a remake in the same way that Pretty Woman is a remake of Pygmalion.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I just want to go through this cast. Like Samuel L. Jackson, incredible as Major Marcus. You are right; it was Marquise. Sorry, Marquise Warren.
You might recognize him from Marvel.
Right? He played the titular character, Captain America.
I'll tell you what, when Samuel L. Jackson came on the scene in Pulp Fiction, nobody knew Samuel L. Jackson was not a thing.
He had Jurassic Park, and then
he did, but he really blew up from that. Pulp Fiction,
yeah. Absolutely. We got Walton Goggins, who's making a name for himself again.
Perfect.
Back,
What a killer!
he's
What an
so good in
underrated
this. He's
magician
just
of
such
an
a
actor.
lovable. Like he's obviously a terrible person in this, but he's just such a lovable guy. He's so.
I mean, if y'all haven't seen him in Vice Principals on HBO,
Perfect. That is
oh my
such
God,
a funny
it's the
show.
funniest
Yeah,
show
I need
I've
to
ever
watch
seen
it.
in my
I heard it's
entire
really
life.
good.
It's
The
like
Righteous Gemstones, hilarious in that.
yeah, he's just good. He's just good, and he has that smarmy. I'm from the South, sort of.
Yeah,
Hello,
he's got that
how
smile.
are you doing?
Yeah.
He's gonna backstab you. He's gonna backstab you. You just don't know when.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Have you guys seen Justified? He's the villain
I've
in
seen the
that.
first season. He's the villain. Yeah.
Yeah, he is fucking incredible in that show. Just absolutely amazing.
I hope he keeps doing films. I know he had like a CBS show for a while. I don't know if that made it or what, but hopefully he's not caught in that and he can keep.
Well, he's just
films.
on Fallout as well.
That's right.
Yeah,
Amazing Fallout.
In the Ghoul, incredible job. Yeah,
that's
yeah. We got Damien Berchier, who plays Senor Bob, the Mexican
young De
dude.
Niro. He
my
looks so
God,
much
his
like Robert
voice.
De Niro in this, doesn't he?
He does. He absolutely does. I was thinking the same thing when I was watching it.
Because his eyes, he has those shaped eyes. It's like I don't know. It's just I don't know. He's giving me De Niro a lot.
I love his voice in this. Is that his normal voice, or is he putting on a heavier accent?
He's from Mexico. He was born in Mexico.
I know he's Mexican. Yeah, but I'm just wondering if that.
I mean, they're doing. I don't know if he's really being authentic. I mean, it's like maybe during that time period. And
yeah, he was. Also, Senor Bob.
But I think Bob is trying to hide. So he wants to play it up that he's not a threat and he's just a guy. He's just
his accent to me was very inauthentic while he was being Senor Bob.
Right.
Yes.
Right. But when later he's like more relaxed and it's like
in the flashback, you mean?
Yeah, it's way better. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not forced. I don't know
it's
why.
Obviously on purpose.
Forced. Yeah, when he was
I think it's on purpose, Like he's trying to make himself out as like this lovable, big bear. So it's like
actors having their characters do acting. So it's very you know what I'm saying? It's like levels.
You're describing
like
acting
about acting
yes.
about acting. It's like my character's acting. I'm not acting.
He's making believe that he's a new person, okay?
Yes. Right. Yeah, correct.
And then what about Michael Madsen, my favorite?
Michael Madsen.
Crazy
person.
He's my favorite.
Creepy.
Like Tarantino.
He's so scary.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a movie called The Getaway?
Yes.
With Jennifer Tilly.
I think so.
And he kidnaps this veterinarian and his wife, and then the wife falls in love with Michael Madsen during it, and they're like getting it on in front of the other hostage during the whole. It's so crazy,
and his voice creepy. Is crazy. Like I'm a cowboy. I'm writing my life story.
Ooh, you know what I like in Kill Bill when he makes the margarita mix.
He always does that with
a long show where they put the ice in the blender and he's pouring the margarita and he takes the old gold Quavo and he puts it in the Quavo in the blender and he's mixing it up like that, and then the fucking snake comes and bites him.
Yeah.
And
what's
that?
What's that line that he? It's this is such a small, insignificant line, but I loved it. Where Kurt Russell's character, John Ruth, he approaches him and he's like, "What are you writing?" He's like, "I'm writing my life story."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Am I in it?" And he goes,
"You are now.
You are now."
You just entered.
He does one of those.
Yeah.
You kind of see it on his face that he's registering the joke, and he's like, he does that.
He does one of these like deliveries where he goes,
and he looks like he directly looks at the camera. Yeah.
"You just entered."
He's just very slow and methodical. I love he takes his time.
Yeah, he takes his time. He has a way of like conveying thought in a physical way. Where he does like thing where he'll be like lean back and kind of like think, and it's just so good.
Yeah.
It reminds me of also the work sometimes.
Yeah.
Too.
There's also the part where Kurt Russell's character is like collecting their guns. He's like, it's just a precaution. He walks over to his bed. He's like, why do I guess that when you say precaution you mean me? He's
giving me Snake Plissken, right? From Escape from New York.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell, what a legend. So many great movies. And he married Goldie Hawn, right?
He did, that's right, yeah. He had a famous daughter. It's an actress.
Right.
I'm blanking on the name.
And it killed me every single time he told Every
Sorry.
single time he told Daisy Domergue to shut up, it just like
Shut
lost
up.
it.
Yeah.
Shut up!
He punched the,
you
he
almost
punched
feel
the
bad for
shit
her.
out of her too.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a smack. It was like a
Kate
Yeah.
Hudson.
Teeth
Kate
coming
Hudson
out.
Prague. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Kate Hudson.
Kate
Shout
Hudson.
out
Yeah,
to
you
Kate
kind of
Hudson.
feel bad for her, and then you
Married the
realize
Black
she's
Crow
like
singer, right?
she's a Confederate murderer, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. But,
So
Oh, they're all
before
bad
we get
people.
into the
They're all
movie,
bad.
yes.
they're all-
I mean, we're in
before
the
we get-
movie, but yes.
Okay,
Go.
before we get further into the movie,
Sure.
Okay.
Whatever.
well, where does this movie rank in your Tarantino movies? Does it break the top 3?
It's my number
That's
one.
your number one. Okay, what about you,
It's
Prague?
my number one. Yeah.
My favorite Tarantino movie is Django.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Django's fucking hilarious.
Django's
That's
incredible.
the funniest movie I ever saw in my fucking life with a horse.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh my
right?
god. Yeah.
You know, he's like the horse is like doing little tricks and stuff.
That
and, you know,
KKK scene in Django Unchained
Oh,
is
yeah.
absolutely
Django
hilarious.
Unchained is perfect. I
So-
love Reservoir Dogs.
Mhm.
I mean, what's
Pulp
my?
Fiction.
I mean, yeah, but it's like I've seen some of the movies so many times they're not
Mhm.
even. I mean, I like to see a Tarantino movie I haven't seen in a minute.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
Yeah.
refreshing because it's still going to be a Tarantino movie. It's like one big universe. It's like the
Mhm.
Marvel universe. It's the Tarantino universe, and all these events are happening on the same planet version of
Yeah.
Earth, right? So to me, it's just like I get to visit that planet. I'm happy. I don't.
And we know that's true because Vince Vega and the other Vega brother, like the Michael Madsen plays a Vega brother in Reservoir Dogs, and then
I love
Um,
Reservoir Dogs.
yeah,
That was the
and
first
then-
one I saw. That was on VHS. It was being passed around. Nobody really knew about him. And True Romance was the first real time I was aware of him as a writer. And he
Yeah.
wrote did Tony Scott direct that?
Tony
Or
Scott
Ridley
directed
Scott?
it. Yeah,
Tony Scott, right?
Tony Scott. Yeah,
I love True Romance. I'll put True Romance as
one
my
of
second favorite Tarantino
Yeah.
film.
And what I was
Because
saying is
So
John
important to
Travolta.
me as a young person learning how to write and be creative. True Romance
Mhm.
Yeah.
really had an effect.
Absolutely. But what I was saying is that John Travolta plays Michael Madsen's character in Reservoir Dogs' brother in Pulp Fiction, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. You know they're in
Really?
the same universe. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. I love it.
Did you know that? They're the
No.
Vega brothers. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure Tarantino for a while was planning on doing a Vega brothers movie, but they just got too old.
Yeah.
So it just never
Vega
happened.
What about From Dusk Till Dawn? That's another
Yeah,
Tarantino.
that's written
Good
by
movie.
him as well. Yeah.
Right? I love
So-
the stuff he writes as much as the stuff he directs.
Mhm.
Because people when they talk about True Romance, and I think Tarantino has said, "What's the best scene you've ever written?" It's that scene in. He said it's that scene in True Romance between
Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken.
Dennis Hopper and Christopher
That's
Walken.
a good scene.
In
Yeah,
my
it's a tough
opinion,
scene.
I think the conversation that Samuel L. Jackson has with Bruce Dern in this movie about his son is better than that. Like
It's a direct mirror of that.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
True.
But it's almost the opposite, right?
Mhm.
It's
Those films do
It's-
mirror one another, don't they? Reservoir
Yeah.
Dogs. and
in a
this one.
way. No, I'm talking about True Romance.
True Romance. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, the scene in True Romance between Dennis Hopper and
So
um,
for me, I don't think it breaks my top 5.
really, why is that?
But I've only seen this movie one time, where I've seen the other movies multiple times.
Is this your
Right.
first time watching it?
Yeah, it's my first time watching it. Yeah.
Oh no way!
Yeah.
Wow.
So-
is that?
so-
but
So
yeah.
Kill Bill for me is my favorite movie of Tarantino's.
Yes. That's a great
Volume
film.
1 is just perfect.
I mean,
for
I
me.
would put that as my 1 and 2, right? You know,
Okay.
for
Yeah.
Django.
But yeah, no.
Yeah.
This is a movie I've been wanting to watch for a long time. I remember seeing it on Netflix and be like, shit, I gotta watch it, and I just never got around to it. So I was happy you picked this because I was like, oh great,
Oh,
a
I'm
movie I
glad.
haven't seen, and I love Tarantino, so
Yeah.
I
But
was able to
is
watch
the
this.
reason why it doesn't break your top 5 because Tarantino has just made so many bangers? Like he's
I think
just
so.
that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look up
'cause-
his. He's got so many freaking movies. I mean, let's
Yeah.
talk about it. Reservoir Dogs '92, Pulp
Mhm.
Fiction, Jackie Brown, Kill Bill 1 and 2, Death Proof, Inglourious Bastards, Django, The Hateful Eight, and Once Upon a Time, which was great too. I mean,
Yeah.
I put them all even. You know, I can't.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like there's no bad. There's nothing bad. What am I going to say? How do I rank something that's
I love Death Proof.
delicious?
I mean, a lot of people
I haven't
don't like
seen that
Death
one.
Proof, but
Yeah.
it's based. I'm a big,
That was fun.
I'm a big slasher fan, and I just love the idea that he creates a slasher villain where the car is the weapon. You know,
And
I think it's genius. Yeah.
Oh my god, the stunts, the road work, the practical magic that they pull
It's
off
incredible.
in that double feature, right? Because it's the Grindhouse double feature with
Planet Terror,
with
Planet Terror, which is
I
not
haven't seen
great.
Planet Terror.
I would skip. I mean, go right to Death Proof if you have limited time. But Death Proof is only like what 40,
90 minutes,
70 minutes.
It's 90 minutes. It's a full film, but
I have to see it again. It's been a minute.
It's great. What I wanted to also talk about is how good Tarantino is at using sort of techniques like without establishing them first. Like he just uses them because it's needed for the story. For example, in this film, out of nowhere, a narrator comes in and starts narrating what's happening on screen because he's
the narrator, right?
Yes.
I don't think is it him?
Yes,
it's not Tarantino.
It is.
It is Tarantino.
Yeah. I think it is.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
It doesn't sound like him, but yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like him at all.
It's him.
But yeah, so
he's in every movie he makes.
In.
He puts himself in every movie he makes.
Yes,
right? Like in Pulp Fiction, when he's Mr. Wolf comes to help him get rid of the body.
Yeah.
And steals the movie. That's my favorite film scene, probably of all time, is Mr. Wolf rolling up and like telling everyone how to square it out and then taking off.
Yeah. Because I feel like a regular director would be too scared to just throw in narration midway through the film because he's like, I haven't set this up. But Tarantino's like, no, I need the narration to show the audience where the tension is, right? Telling them that someone's poisoned the coffee. Like he knows, it's very Kubrick in the way. Like if you tell someone there's a bomb under the desk, then that's more tense than, them not knowing and then being shocked, right?
The perception is just as damaging as the reality, right?
Like they could have had the scene play out where you just see J.C. Domergue notice something and then what's his name? Kurt Russell starts spewing blood out of nowhere. Right. But instead he tells the audience via narration. Right? Yeah. So you know that there's poison there and you're just waiting for someone to drink that cup.
And it's like
she's playing
a mini flashback too.
Yeah.
How they do it,
Yeah.
Like Samuel L. Jackson's character, he has this whole, the whole scene with Bruce Dern.
Yeah.
And that goes uninterrupted, which is, crazy. And then the mini flashback to the coffee, and you're like, wait, what?
Whoa, hold on. Yeah.
When the poison hits, how visceral. I love how Tarantino, like when someone gets shot in a Tarantino movie, it's not like most movies they go, oh, I'm shot. It's
they
really
scream
fucking
in
shot.
Films.
Because your whole bodies are being turned into a blender right now. And seeing them die from the poisoning is just like so brutal. You could tell it was like horrific.
Yeah, absolutely. But
and
what
then,
I wanted,
rest in peace real quick, my boy OB. He didn't do nothing. He didn't do
anything wrong. He just drove the carriage.
He was a good man.
Poor guy.
Shout out OB in chat. I love the flashback when they have the New Zealand horse team driver,
Zoe Bell. Yeah,
they have the group of the heroes, right? The people that are in Tarantino films. There's villains, anti-heroes, and very brief exposition about heroes, and the heroes always get cooked.
Yes,
but
every
they're
time.
So nice. They're just so nice. It's just like overblown nice.
Yeah, and Zoe Bell, she was in Death Proof. She's a stunt woman, like New Zealand stunt woman. And she's basically Death Proof is like her movie, her showcase. Like there's scenes in Death Proof where she's basically just hanging off the hood of a car while it's going at like 500 miles per hour. It's crazy, but I'm glad that they got like another role for her in a Tarantino film.
She was good. She was really good. She was funny, because she was just like the nicest person in the whole world. And then these
she's
bad
just
guys.
skipping along, right? She's like,
skipping
from
along.
Auckland.
Yeah, I'm from Auckland.
City.
But what I was saying about the narration is Tarantino always does that. Like, you'll bring a new thing into the film just because he feels like the film needs it, even if it wasn't pre-established. Like in Kill Bill, when he did that anime sequence explaining the backstory of
my
what's her
God.
name?
Right.
Yeah, it's just he's just a genius, and
The Bride.
I really
no,
wish
that was
that
for yeah, all right. The
Yeah.
flashback for the
There's the mob boss, the girl.
that's in
the
Kill Bill 1,
Japanese
right?
one.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Is it Risuki? Is that her name?
Right.
I remember.
Something like
Anyway,
that. With the Morning Star, she's throwing the chain. She has the,
No.
the Morning
Correct.
Star.
Oh,
on the
yeah,
ball,
sorry. Yeah.
right?
Yes, that is right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
she has a
sick.
samurai sword and
Is
everything.
it Lucy Liu?
It is Lucy Liu.
No.
Yes.
Okay, the girl with the swinging thing is a
No,
different
that's a
girl.
different person. You're
That's
right.
a
That's a
different
different
Lucy
person.
Liu is who the flashback's about.
Yeah.
Lucy Liu's
Lucy,
character.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I love it. I wish more filmmakers would be more, daring, like not feeling like they had to be constrained in the I have to set this up
Oh my
first.
god,
and,
the
like,
fact that
just
Kill
do
Bill
what
is
the
so
film
long,
needs. Yeah.
right? Kill Bill allows him
It
to do
doesn't,
so
it
many
doesn't
things
feel like it though.
because
No, it
they do
doesn't.
that whole thing with Pai Mei, right, where the bride gets dropped off at the master's house, and they do that whole long. That to me is like one of the best parts of the whole movie. It's so
Part 2 feels long. Like
I love
have
part
to,
two.
Part
I
two
have to be
feels
honest.
long,
Yeah,
super long.
but it's one long conversation basically. But yeah, it's still good.
the end, right, when she
Yeah.
finally confronts Bill.
Bill, yeah. Such
Yeah.
a good scene.
Yeah.
Great movie.
I love the conversation at the dinner table they're having about the Lincoln letter, and he's asking him. He keeps asking, Abraham Lincoln wrote you a letter, so you
Right.
guys were basically pen pals.
Yeah, he's just
You
laughing.
guys were basically
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah, because that keeps him alive. He's right. He's like, yeah, I lied about the fucking letter. That keeps people off balance, and that keeps me,
Yeah.
alive.
Like, it got me on the stagecoach, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Just brilliant. And then he has him read it at the end, and he's like, the old tots. That's a nice
Mary
touch.
Todd.
Old
It's
Mary
funny,
Todd, yeah.
when she spits on the letter, she spits blood on the letter.
I was so shocked.
And
Yeah.
then he
Even though-
hits her, but it's not a real letter, so he acts like it is
Yeah,
a real
yeah.
letter when it's not.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if he doesn't do that, everyone's going to be on to him. Right?
In that scene, I was like, "What if she spit in it? That'd be crazy." And then she does, and my eyes were like, "Oh,
Yeah,
not the
that'd be
Lincoln letter."
mad. Yeah, unbelievable.
Punches her out of the stagecoach.
But
So
I also
crazy.
feel like he's carried it around so long that he's kind of started to sort of believe it. You know what I mean? So it still is sentimental to him.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
still think that punch is like
And-
genuine.
At the end, they read it. That's the last section of the film. They read the letter again.
Yeah.
Walton Goggins reads it, and it's kind of like, well, they still have hope.
Yeah.
Even though it's not
Yeah.
real, even though they're bad guys, even though this is the worst fucking thing that ever happened to them, they're still. It seems to be like a silver lining of hope through the movie.
Yeah.
I guess,
And they
is what
find
they're
respect
doing.
for each other, which I find really heartwarming. Like, these two characters that at the start were completely at odds. They end up being the two that have the most respect for each other. I love the part where he has them all backed up against the wall, and he's like, hey, what's his name? Mannix? Charles? Is it
Mannix,
Charles?
yeah.
Yeah, is it Chris Mannix? He's like,
Chris
Chris,
Mannix.
come over here. Come to my side. And he he slowly walks over. He's like, grab my gun.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And his swarmy delivery too after that, he goes, "Oh, so you believe me now?"
Now, huh?
So now you
It's like,
believe
no.
me, right?
It's like, I don't.
He's like, well, I know you ain't poisoned that.
Uh-huh.
Coffee. You almost
Walton-
drank it yourself.
Walton
Yeah.
Goggins' character is a former Confederate bushwhacker who's basically like a
Yes.
militia member.
Yeah.
Gang that was a family. Now he's on his way to this town in Wyoming to become the sheriff.
The new
but
sheriff, yeah.
But nobody really knows if that's
true or not,
because it's back in the day. You really had letters. That's everything, right? You
Yeah.
really had
Mhm.
couldn't verify.
I
And
do have
oh, go ahead, Tracy.
I do have a question about Tim Roth's character. Is
So
he,
good.
he had all the letters of the executioner, right? So did
English
he
people.
kill the executioner and then take the
Man.
letters? Like,
English
that's
know.
what I'm.
Cook. English vehicle can make any letter you want, mate.
Charles
What you
Mowbray.
mean? What you mean? Did I kill
Yeah, because he
the
had
executioner, mate? I
a
made the
business
letter.
card, and then he had the
Yeah.
papers. So
Like
it's
they'd
like,
obviously planned this like out
yeah,
More
well
likely,
in advance.
he held a print shop hostage for the afternoon and had him work out a bunch of documents
Mhm.
for him.
Maybe.
You know, these are,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah.
you know, he's just a
Okay,
gangster.
Prag, did you say that Michael Madsen's your favorite recurring character?
I mean, I love when I see Michael Madsen. I
Okay.
love
So
his,
Do you
because
mean
for-
in the film, or do you mean
in
like in
Tarantino
films?
world?
movies, yeah.
In Tarantino
Yeah.
world. I
In
mean,
the
if I had to
Tarantino-verse?
sit down and look at everything, I might change my
Mhm.
mind. But he's definitely up there.
Yeah,
I
so
think
for
he is
me,
for me
Roth,
as well.
too. I
It's
love
either
for me-
him or
him.
Christoph Waltz.
Tim
Mhm.
Roth is that character.
Oh
Yeah, he's
wow,
great.
yeah.
I love Tim Roth. Every time I see him, I'm like, yes,
He's great in
we're,
Reservoir
we're ready.
Dogs.
We're
He's
ready to go.
incredible in Reservoir Dogs. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I love Tim Roth, and
Mhm.
he's
I
great
mean,
in this.
Mhm.
Probably Harvey Keitel if you put a gun to my head. You know,
Oh,
yeah,
my
I love
God,
Harvey
yeah.
Keitel so much.
I feel like Harvey Keitel's more of a Scorsese character actor, though. He's been in more
Mhm.
Scorsese films, I think, than Tarantino films, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I think Keitel's only been in Reservoir Dogs.
is that it?
No, he's been in Pulp Fiction.
Oh no, Pulp Fiction.
Was
Mr.
he in Pulp
Wolf.
Fiction? He was
Mhm.
in Pulp Fiction.
He was
Martellus
Wolf, yeah.
Yes.
right?
Yes, you're
Yeah.
right.
Fixer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think my
He's
favorite Tarantino alum is Christoph Waltz. Like he just kills it.
Oh
in,
my god, he's so funny in
both
that
films
movie.
he's in.
Django
In
Unchained is
Django,
a comedy. You don't understand. It's a comedy. They're making
Mhm.
fun of the idiocy of slavery and the stupidity of the system, and
Yeah.
the fact that how Christoph Waltz is moving and Jamie is moving through that world is
Yeah.
hilarious to me. And it's a con man movie too. You know, it's all of these things because they go down to that plantation and they con their way, you know, through that situation. It's just a great movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Samuel L. Jackson in that movie too.
Mhm.
Oh my god! I mean, that's
Yeah.
a tough. I mean, that's a brave performance. But
really
listen,
tough role to nail as
I
well.
mean-
yeah.
Do you think that in a lot of Tarantino movies, his supporting cast often outshines the lead characters? You think?
I don't
Well,
know. I think they're all ensembles. I
do
think
you feel-
I don't
Yeah.
know if there's a lead.
Do you feel like the Hateful Eight had a lead? Like
No.
Samuel L. Jackson?
Samuel Jackson,
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kurt Russell. I'd be both.
Why
of them.
not Daisy Domergue? Why not? I mean, she might be the lead. Jennifer Jason Leigh. She's the focus
Mhm.
of the whole narrative, right? Kurt Russell could say, "I'm the lead" because he, you know, there's different points where they take lead. It's
Mhm.
like having a team
Absolutely.
of 5 guys where different people play point guard at different times to confuse the defense, to confuse
Yeah.
the audience. And I think
Yeah.
that's what Tarantino does from the jump with Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. He's very careful. He doesn't want to devalue any of his character creations by
Mhm.
putting one in the front and others in the back.
So
Yeah.
the reason I said that is because you brought up Christoph Waltz, and in Inglourious Bastards, Christoph Waltz is the star of that movie to me, but he's
he's
not
the
the leading
villain.
character.
Yeah,
He's the villain, right? And then
he's
in
the main
Inglourious
villain, yeah.
Bastards, he's good, but he's not even the best part of that movie. I
You
would
mean
argue
Django
Leonardo
Unchained.
DiCaprio's Django.
You mean
Leonardo
yes.
DiCaprio
It's so
outshines
funny.
Christoph
No.
Waltz in that
Everyone.
movie. Yeah.
Well, Christoph Waltz won
Leonardo
the
DiCaprio's
Oscar
so good.
for Django, and Leo didn't,
Mhm.
which I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
Although he was up against Matthew McConaughey that year.
Mhm.
I'm
Which
not
was
that
an
crazy about
incredible
Leo
role.
in that movie, to be perfectly honest.
I
with
love
you.
him in that
Really?
movie.
I mean,
He was
he's
fantastic.
compared to
Yeah.
the other
Calvin
performances,
Candy,
he's all good. It's
Dude.
all good. I'm saying it's good.
Dude, he
I would've
smashed
original
a glass
Candyman?
on
I
his
think Walton
hand.
Goggins would have made a better person
Dude, he
to play that
smashed a
role.
glass on his hand and wiped it on what's her
For
name's
I'm
real,
not saying
face.
it was bad.
Yeah,
I'm
for
not saying it
real.
was bad. It's just not my favorite Leo performance. You know what I'm saying?
Fair
I'm
enough,
not saying
fair
it's
enough.
bad. I'm saying I could see Walton Goggins play that even better. Right?
or even in a
I could see
Once
it.
Upon a
I
Time
could
in
see
Hollywood.
it. I don't know
think
if
Brad
it'd
Pitt
be
Leo
bad
is
or
always
bad.
Leo. Listen to me.
Yeah.
Leo is always Leo. It
Mhm.
never
Yeah.
disappears. I see Leo. I don't see him disappear into another character. Right? So when he's on the screen, he can't really play anyone but himself. Because
Really?
he's so
Yeah.
ubiquitous. Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I always see Leo. It's just, it's Leo doing a Southern accent. It's Leo
Mhm.
doing a mobster. It's Leo. You know what I'm saying? Because
But can't you say that
it's
with
so
every
familiar.
character? Or every actor?
I mean, no, because a lot of them can really disappear into their roles. Like I'm thinking of
Like who?
Daniel Day-Lewis, for example. Daniel
Mhm.
Day-Lewis is, or I mean, there's so many great character actors. I mean,
Mm.
look, think about the guy who played the police captain in the Batman films, the Christopher Nolan Batman films.
Oh, Gary.
Oh
Um,
yeah, Gary
Oldman.
yeah.
Gary Oldman
Yeah.
disappears. He
Yeah.
plays Winston
Completely
Churchill one week.
disappears.
He plays a mobster the next week, and
What
he's
about
been
Christian
doing it
Bale?
for
Christian Bale
Christian
is
Bale. I mean, lose
great.
weight. I mean, you
Yeah.
know,
Or one of my favorite character actors, Stephen Root.
sure.
Who's
You guys
that?
heard of him?
Stephen Root
I've
from
heard of him.
News Radio, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love Stephen Root. And
In Office Space, he was the guy with the stapler.
right?
I've seen
And,
Office Space.
Um,
God damn it.
Blood. What's that movie? That
Blood
show was on
Diamond.
HBO. No, it was
Oh.
about vampires. What the fuck is the name of that
True
movie?
Blood?
Oh, True
Blood. Yeah, Stephen Root's in True Blood as a vampire. He's really great.
He's in
Yeah.
Barry,
always great.
show on HBO. That's hilarious.
Barry's
Oh,
amazing.
I need to
yeah.
watch Barry. I need to
Barry's
watch
so
Barry.
good. Barry's so
Yeah.
good.
I keep hearing how good it is. Can I also? I think Tarantino is also incredible at that, at like setting up jokes. Like I
Mhm.
feel like, and he did an incredible job in this film where they show the flashback, right, of them taking over the haberdashery. They kill everyone in the haberdashery. They introduce Channing Tatum's character, who just blown Samuel L. Jackson's nuts off. And
Spoiler alert.
yeah, so they have this whole flashback introducing
45
him.
minutes in, spoiler alert.
Yeah, we're 45 minutes in. Like they have this
movie's
whole
been
flashback.
out for 11 years.
Yeah. They have this whole flashback introducing him taking the haberdashery, and then immediately the next scene, he just pops his head out of the trap door and immediately gets his head blown off. Like I lost it the first time I saw this film.
That
It
was
so
crazy.
funny.
I know. And
He smiles at his sister and he's like,
They're
hey,
having a tender
bam.
moment.
Yeah.
right.
Just straight away. I couldn't believe it.
Goof. I'm a lot
Yeah.
better now that I see you, you big goof. And then it's like, boom. And she's like, ah!
It's
And
like,
she's just,
Yeah.
you know, the
He
full
was
Brains on her
blood.
face. Yeah.
it's like
like
he was
Harry-
surrendering. Wasn't going
Yeah.
fast enough.
Yeah, the gun fights in this are crazy. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it's Tarantino.
Yeah.
And
There's
it's
gonna be
always Tarantino, yeah,
visceral.
So there's one thing that I like to do, and it's a crazy thing. Because
Yeah.
I do with movies I don't watch a lot of times.
Mm.
I'll watch reviews and like analysis on movies that I haven't seen on YouTube and shit like that.
So you'll get
Um,
it spoiled for you
They're,
beforehand.
they're movies I'm never gonna see.
Let him
So-
cook.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
not- yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't know what this is. I'm probably not gonna watch it. Whatever. So I did the same thing for Hateful Eight after I watched it, obviously.
Right. Right.
And there was an interesting thing that someone brought up, and it's that that this movie kind of mirrors John Carpenter's The Thing.
I was thinking that while I was watching it.
And
Like,
and
while
who,
I was watching
who
it,
was the lead in John Carpenter's The Thing?
Kurt Russell. Yeah.
Crazy,
And,
Is
huh?
that when, is that
and
like when you
also
take-
the music is from The Thing. It's
Yeah.
3 unreleased tracks is from The Thing.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
is that like when you take the Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon and match
With
it
the Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz?
Yeah.
We play the Thing
Yeah.
simultaneously with Hateful Eight. Is
Could
it going to
be, yeah.
match? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I
But
was like, that's
I like that.
interesting. That's
But
interesting. Okay.
I was watching that scene where they were hammering those like those
Mhm.
spokes.
Oh
in.
yeah.
It's so similar to a similar scene that they do
Mhm.
in The Thing, and I just wonder how much inspiration.
Is that because it's snow? Is that because
well,
snow
it's
is always
snow,
going to
but
look
it's
like
one.
snow?
It's all in one location. There's a
Mm.
murderer on the loose. Like
Claustrophobic.
there's an imposter on the loose. It's
Mhm.
killing people.
Right?
It's all very like
Claustrophobic, right? Isn't that what The Thing does really well in the first
Yes.
section
Yeah.
in this movie too? I
Yes.
think that cabin was so spacious, but there's
Mm.
9 people or 12 people sometimes operating on that stage. So
It
he made it as much as he could. Right?
it definitely felt as the movie got further along that the cabin shrunk a little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because when they would show the wide
It got-
shots, you would see them all sprawled out amongst wherever, and then it got smaller and smaller and smaller.
It was shot on widescreen, and I think
Mhm.
they
Uh-huh.
like it was shot on 2.76 widescreen, which
Right.
is what they
It's
used to
super
shoot.
wide.
What they used to shoot westerns on.
Panavision, right? I think that's called. I
Panavision,
think
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what they.
Yeah, and I think they increased they decreased the lens focal length, and it
Yeah.
made it look smaller. Like as the film went on.
Nice.
I also love it's kind of the opposite of The Thing, because in The Thing everyone's already in the base and then something enters. In
Yeah.
this like the thing that's going to kill them enters. In this one it's the opposite. Everyone that's in the cabin is the
Mhm.
victims coming
But the
to
thing that's going to kill them is the blizzard pushing him into this
the
enclosed
blizzard
space.
and the people that are already in the cabin as well. Like, it's like an inverse in that way as well.
Pretty crazy.
Interesting. I like that. That would be a sick double feature. If I had my own
Oh my God.
movie theater, which I sometimes dream of, having my
Yeah.
own little boutique movie theater in a town that actually makes enough money just to keep going, I would serve up the Thing along with the
And
Hateful
then
Eight. And I call it Mickey's Special Double.
Mickey special.
Mickey
See, I
special.
got a smile from it.
I better get free admission every
No, it's
time.
$17.50.
$17.50. God damn it.
Popcorn is free
God damn it.
though. You get
Hey, that's
two
pretty
soft
good.
drinks.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
because
good.
popcorn's cheap, baby. I don't need to get popcorn.
There was a scene in the extended cut towards the end. So they revealed the whole thing where they do the flashback at the haberdashery and show them setting up the their thing, whatever. And I guess this wasn't in the regular edition, but it showed them when John Ruth first came into the thing with Daisy. So you guys didn't see that part, right?
As in
into the cabin
when he captured her, or
no. When they first get to the cabin and John Ruth goes in there like, hey, put 2 boards on there, whatever.
Right.
And Samuel Jackson's character and Walton Goggins are helping the guy take the horses away. There was an extra scene I don't think you guys saw on that.
What happens in it?
So it plays out exactly like it was, like where they come in and he's like, who's that guy? Who's that guy? But it's from the perspective of Tim Roth and Michael Madsen.
Oh, okay.
So
like
when they go to do the coffee, the coffee scene where he's like, oh, who made this coffee, whatever. It's that scene, and he's going to get the beans, this and that, whatever. As he's doing that, Tim Roth is shadowing him and like just looking at him, and he's looking at Daisy, and Daisy's giving him like little looks, and then all the way across the room is Michael Madsen's character, and he has a gun underneath the table pointing at John Ruth.
Oh, we didn't see the gun until later.
And then he's like, oh, the beans are right there. And then, he's getting the beans, whatever, and he's not paying attention. And then Tim Roth's character, motions to Daisy like, move, we have a shot.
Yeah.
And then she thinks to her in her head, because you see her look around, she sees him and she sees a gun and she's like, this isn't going to work because they don't know there's more people.
Yeah, they don't know there's more people.
Yeah,
right.
And she's like, hey, what about the other guy outside, this and that? And he's like, I thought I told you stop fucking talking. He hit her, this and that.
I love when he walks in.
And then Michael Madsen looks and goes, he puts a gun away and he goes, I guess we're going to have to do this the hard way.
Yeah.
Bro, when he comes in,
that.
he goes to the coffee, and he's already decided he's going to throw the coffee away before he gets to the coffee, because he pours the coffee, does like a quarter of a taste, and spits it on the floor.
I kind of don't
just
like
dumps
that.
it on the floor because he's probably worried about poison. Like, you know what I'm saying? He wants to control the environment.
All day.
And it was bad. And Bob can't make
I'm sure it was bad. I'm sure it was bad.
But but did they show that at the end or at the start?
They showed it at the end.
At the end. Oh, okay. Is that like, how do they,
when they're doing the point of view of the gang, essentially?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think they did that at the start. That would ruin the movie.
They killed everybody. They set everything up. They covered the blood on the chair. They told the old guy, "Hey, you want to live? Stay here."
Oh, okay. And then they cut to that.
Yeah.
And then they right.
It was just
Mimi and Sweet Jean or something, right? Mimi and Sweet Jean.
Yeah.
Mimi and Sweet
Dave. Guy. He's like, "How you doing?"
The way they killed Sweet Dave was crazy.
Yeah, Sweet Dave.
So how you doing? Shit out of him. Yeah.
He's like, choo, 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 choo.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So
that Bob that did that one? That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was Bob, yeah. And also he shoots the jelly bean jar that just goes everywhere.
Yeah.
And Samuel Jackson,
the jelly bean though, right?
He noticed the beans earlier, yeah.
Yeah. So because he looked up and the jar of jelly beans had...
Well, it was there.
Yeah. Yeah, there was one jelly bean and then there were the jars. But there was a missing spot on the shelf. So he's like, where's...
There were so many context clues as to what was going on that he picked up. That was crazy. Like when he first meets Bob and he's like, oh, she's, Mimi's over at her mom's house, huh? Okay. And then, he deduces whatever. It's like, are you calling me a liar?
Calling me a liar? What are you talking about?
Can you prove it?
Puss in Boots.
She was on her sisters. She went to her sisters.
Sure, that is a good story, but can you approve it, cabron? It
All right,
was
that's too
really
much.
good.
No, JC, you can't do a
JC,
Mexican
wow,
voice on the
JC,
internet.
wow.
You are
I
not
can,
in a film.
I can because I'm Mexican.
I know.
Prague can because
Exactly.
Prague lives in the
Can I
heart
have-
of Mexico. You know.
Can I have the pastime as a
Yes,
fellow
yes.
Australian?
You can have
Thank
the
you.
brown pass.
Thank
you. Can have
you.
the brown pass.
You can do the New Zealand lady, the
fellow
lady
Australian.
that helps with the horses. You can do that character.
Oh,
That's a
yeah,
good character for you.
I can do that. I mean, New Zealand is very, very similar. They just
Same
go,
thing.
Ebru.
Same thing.
Ebru.
Hey, Brian. How
But
you
yeah,
doing?
um,
I'm from New Zealand. My
there
nose
was
is
that.
Karen.
The blankets on the chair, and he's like, no one sits in Sweet Dave's chair.
Yeah.
You know, like shit like that. It was just like, whoa,
And, like,
like he figured everything out.
Oh, the
Yeah,
tobacco,
and it's like
tobacco, right? She's
it's
like,
a very
Oh, yeah.
yes,
but then
yeah.
Bob knew the correct
he knew that. He
tobacco,
knew that,
and
yeah.
that was clutch.
Because
And
in the
also-
scene, she rolled it for him.
And also the stew, right? Like the
stew, that's
stew,
right, yeah.
Like he'd eaten
Yeah.
the stew before. That's
Ooh,
definitely
that
mini
stew
stew.
looked
and-
good.
Yeah.
That
And
stew
also-
made me hungry. It looks so good in the context.
There's
looked
an
really
extra
good.
scene in the extended version that has to do with context clues or whatever.
Of the
Um,
stew?
Kind of. No, not stew.
Okay.
At one point, I forgot what's happening. Something's happening, and John Ruth, Kurt Russell's character, notices a bird or a chicken that's unplucked,
Oh, I was
and he's-
wondering. Yeah.
And
go
he's
on,
like,
sorry.
he goes,
Yeah.
who did this? And he picks it up and he gives it to Senior Bob, and he's like, and he goes, why is this thing half plucked? Don't you know it's bad luck to have a half plucked chicken? And he's like, oh, well, you came in and I was helping putting the horses away and I was making the stew. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So he
Don't you know it's
finishes, and
bad
he's sitting
luck to
there,
have a half
and he-
plucked chicken?
Can we
Yeah.
recreate that theme right now? I'd like to do that theme with you right now.
See,
Tony.
I
he,
was-
he finishes plucking it, but when you go back at the flashbacks, she dies halfway through.
Well, yeah,
plucking
I
the
was.
chicken, so, yeah.
I was wondering, like when I watched the before scene when she was plucking the chicken, I was thinking, was there like, did I miss a shot where there was like a feather on the floor or something?
No,
like-
it was a whole unplugged chicken.
Yeah, it was a whole scene
which was
that
cut out.
they
Yeah.
that they discussed it.
So like
yeah.
it doesn't add anything, but at the same
No,
time,
no.
it's just
I also think they probably cut it because it probably would have drawn too much suspicion on Bob. You know what I mean? Like too much.
Yeah.
You know what I
Mm.
mean? I don't know if
It
that's
makes
how you felt watching it.
sense that
Time
this was a
watching it since.
novel. It makes
Yeah.
sense that this was a novel now that I think about how everything was laid out, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
It seems kind of like Mystery on the Orient
Agatha
Express,
Christie. Yeah,
right? Murder on the Orient Express when you have another ensemble and you're trying to figure out who the
yeah. And the
Well, I guess-
detective has the scene where
Yeah.
they unravel everything.
right the
yeah.
Hercule Poirot.
If I remember right, Tarantino's original idea was to make this a miniseries.
I think so.
I think, yeah,
I
and
don't know.
and
I didn't look. I don't know.
to play into that, the extended edition, it was split into 4 episodes.
Right.
That
okay.
seems like. Did
And
that work
it's-
for you?
It's really good as 4 episodes.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So yeah,
The pacing. Did you watch it in one shot or
I did
broke it
actually.
into two
Yeah,
sections?
so I watched it and I was like, okay, let me see how it is. Maybe I need to take breaks. I took a break in the middle just to go like get something to eat or whatever. But it was. This was my one problem with the movie, but I think the episodicness of it helped a lot. Is I felt it was kind of slow at the beginning, and then it
Yeah.
picked up a little bit into
there
it.
were sections where it lagged.
yeah,
Definitely
but
sections.
Where they're talking in the carriage.
yeah, like
Yeah.
having it in episodes, I think is definitely like really good for this format.
Mm. For me, I never got bored of it because I just found the dialogue just so
No, I didn't get bored.
captivating.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Um,
boring because like and that's the thing with Tarantino. It's like not boring, but it's slow. But you are
Yes.
engaged because of the way they talk and the way
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
things are. So it's like this could pick up the pace a little bit, maybe cut some stuff out, but it was still
Hmm.
very enthralling and engaging.
No,
Nobody,
absolutely.
nobody gives their characters more interesting things to say per second than Quentin Tarantino.
Tarantino. It's
Every
Yeah.
crazy.
film. I mean, I think about the Christopher Walken watch scene in Pulp
Mhm.
Fiction, right? When he's
Yeah.
Oh
going
my
to
God.
bring the watch, right? And he's like,
Yeah.
"And your father put this," and it's like
Yeah.
every
Put this
character
I
Ass
I carried
in
this
his
in my ass.
in
Yeah.
my ass, in my ass. Yes,
Yeah.
little boy. But every fucking character, he could have a waitress on who has 2 lines, and she'll have a fucking complete backstory in your mind.
And he
Yeah.
does that. He does that in Death
and you can
Proof.
see
That
her whole
literally
life.
happens.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's
That literally
he's a
happens in
master.
Death Proof. It's crazy. Yeah.
Master.
I love this film. I
was a good
don't
film.
have anything bad to
was
say
good.
about
I
it,
got nothing bad to
honestly.
say. I got no notes.
For me, this is like if we're doing it out of 100, I'd probably give it like a 95. But if we're doing it
Mhm.
out of 10, it's a 10 out of 10 film for me. Like
I mean,
Mm.
I don't
Five
give 10 out
stars.
of 10s. That's
I
my
do.
problem.
I
One
do. I
thing-
don't have a lot, but I do.
I
One
mean,
thing
10 out of 10 is
I
like
wanted to.
it's got to be a Kubrick movie.
Mhm.
Maybe 2001: A Space Odyssey is a 10.
I've never seen that. I've seen that
I've
movie.
seen it. I don't think it's a
Yeah,
10.
Log
I've seen
off.
that movie. Log
What do you mean you haven't? What do you
All right,
mean
guys.
you
See
don't
you later.
know
That's the end of the
Nicole
podcast. Bye, guys.
R.J. Cooper. Listen to me. Let me explain
Eyes-
something to you.
Eyes
The
Wide
what they
Shut
pulled
is a
off-
10.
He's seen it. He's
my
seen
God.
it. I haven't
I've
seen
seen
it.
it.
2001: A
Yeah,
Space.
he's
You have
seen it.
to look
I've
into the context of when it was made in the 60s.
I know.
They
I've
had
seen
the-
it, and I
when
know
they
the
created
context.
the
It
whole
was-
I get
fucking
it.
outer
Yeah,
space
it was
world.
the precursor to the
get
moon
it.
landing that he faked.
I get
Yeah,
it.
right.
We know.
That's
We
how
know.
they faked the moon landing.
That's how they faked the moon landing.
Listen,
Yes, we
I
know.
get
We
it.
know.
I get it. I just think Eyes Wide Shut is better. I think it's his
I've
best
seen that
film.
movie either.
Doors
Oh my god, I love
the
Eyes Wide Shut.
Podbay
But yeah, this is my favorite
Come on, bro.
Tarantino film, and probably stay being in my Tarantino film until unless his last film is even better. We'll see.
I don't think like that.
I do. I mean, it just
Mhm.
is.
Fair enough.
I love it every time I watch it. I love every minute of it.
So
So
you guys picked this up, I'm sure, but there's a lot of things in movies. Real quick before we finish up.
yeah,
Take your
that
time, buddy. We
you
have
guys-
time.
You guys see things in movies that I don't necessarily see. Like I'll see, oh man, that was a fun movie, and you're like, well, it was an allegory to picking up fast food in the South, and I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? It was a skateboarding movie.
Was.
You know,
It was about fast food in the South, though. This this was about
Alright.
Sonic drive-throughs.
what's the question time?
So no, I'm not saying that question. I'm just saying it's stuff like that, right? So
Yeah.
when I was watching the video of this guy, going over shit, whatever about the movie, he was painting a picture at the end, which I was like, I didn't notice that. I wonder if you guys noticed it. But you have these
Probably
two
not.
characters with Walton Goggins and Samuel L. Jackson that are so different, opposite sides of the spectrum, yet so,
They fell in love, and the sequel is
so
called
similar.
Love and Hateful.
And at the end, once all their, they've been shot up and all that shit, all their clothes are off. They're left with essentially the same clothes.
Yeah.
They're the same person
Mhm.
essentially,
From
and they're
birth.
united against this crazy lady that they hung, which was crazy too. The hanging
was
scene was
crazy.
insane.
The
Yeah.
live lynching. Most directors can't get away with a lynching on camera, but
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's amazing.
that plays out, and then at the very end, you have these two guys coming together, and I guess the colors on the screen is red, white, and blue.
Yeah, the union.
Yeah,
like,
so
I
it's
did,
Really?
Like I didn't
Yeah.
fucking see that until
I
someone pointed
did,
it out to me.
I did see this film as an allegory.
Did you
for
see it,
the,
Prag, or no?
For the Civil War,
I picked up
for
on
sure.
the fact that they were reading the Lincoln letter, and that gave the audience a little hope, and that it's not
Mhm.
all
Yeah.
negative and cynical.
Yeah.
It's that we're moving
Mhm.
forward. So
But
I
you
got
didn't
that. I didn't
see-
see the colors though.
You did, but
Yeah.
did you see it as an allegory for the Civil
No,
War? Like
I don't think he
they
does those.
divided the
Mhm.
house in half, the South and the
I don't think
Northerners.
Tarantino tries to make statements with his
No,
plot.
absolutely
I think
not.
he makes statements with his characters. I'm just saying this is what my
but
perception.
like themes
Let
come
me
out.
answer.
Themes
Can I
come
answer the
out.
question,
Yeah.
Your Honor.
Yeah.
Your Honor.
Yeah.
Now you know how I feel
no,
when you guys fucking
Asked
silence
me.
me.
Asked and
That's okay.
answered. But this is what you have to do, Mickey. You
Asked
got to
and
stop
answered.
everything, put the fucking gavel down, and we're going to start over until we, I'm saying.
Oh,
I don't think.
start
I don't
podcast
think
over. Okay, gotcha.
I don't think he tries to make story. I
Mhm.
think he thinks through characters. I don't think he even
Yeah.
thinks about the larger plot until later. My imagination of Tarantino, I don't know if this is true or not, is that he starts with the characters. He'll write out 9 characters. And then what they do is going to be natural to who they are. And that
Yeah.
is, they're going to write the movie for him. Right?
Yeah.
They're going to do what they do in the real world, in his Tarantino world. And they're going to reveal the plot to him.
Absolutely.
Is that why you think everything happens or feels so natural when things happen?
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
that's a smart
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
to do it, right? Because it
Mhm.
works. Because he's not foisting a narrative onto characters that aren't into that. Because most people
This-
in the real world are not on a hero's journey in their
Mhm.
mind. You know, the
No, they're
audience
not.
puts that on them. They're just trying to get to the next sandwich. They're trying to get to the next cigarette. They're trying to get to the next thing. You know, so I think that's
it's
part
how
of
George
why
R.
he's
Martin says he writes Game of Thrones as well.
That's
the
interesting.
same
Characters
way.
first.
Yeah, characters
Okay.
first, and
Well,
just
I
seeing
believe
where
that
they're
too,
going to
because
go.
he's another fucking master. That's another goat. Someone who can write characters just as good as Tarantino almost, but in a different context. I mean, there's very few people like that. And very few of them can do what Tarantino does, because Tarantino can actually direct. He's not just a writer, you know, and he's really excellent.
But what I mean is, like, when you write characters that are set in the Civil War and have all these different backgrounds, those themes will come out anyway, you know, like naturally without
right,
you know,
historically, right?
And without
the war just ended.
specific intention.
Yeah.
But because that, you know, real life plays out, like, you can't say that, like, themes don't play out in real life as well.
Yeah,
it's
he's
just
not
the same
saying,
thing.
Oh, at the end of the movie, I'm going to
He's not
show
making a statement.
the Confederate and the Union soldier reconcile because they realize they're in this together. I don't think he's
not
that.
making
I think
a
the
statement.
audience. I bet the audience puts that on him. I bet the critics put that on him and say, "Oh yeah, in this scene, he wanted the audience to know." I don't think he's doing that. I think those characters are just being.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't make a statement, but statements get made. Like,
I mean, he
naturally.
does. I think about Natural Born Killers, which is another movie he wrote. That's Oliver Stone directed. That's a wild movie. That is so interesting the way they shot that, because it's really kind of a psychedelic movie, because none of the scenes are like straight up. There's always effects and like you should see that movie. It's really interesting, Natural Born Killers. But he does make statements in those movies, though. He does pick points where characters make long speeches, right? And sometimes it's something really not important, like in the beginning of Reservoir Dogs, they're talking about Madonna and what Madonna means. And they're like, one guy's like, she's, she's a fucking singer. And they're like, no, you listen to me, right? Borderline is about psychiatric impulse to, you know what I'm saying? All that
there's
stuff
also
is...
this, and there's also that scene where Steve Buscemi's like refusing to tip, and they're like, "The fuck, you don't tip?" He's like, "I don't believe in it. I don't believe
it." Seinfeld. It's like Curb Your Enthusiasm, the way he played those scenes, because I can tell there's a lot of improvisation going on in those scenes.
Absolutely,
in some context, and that's where the comedy comes from, because and then they haggle over, why do I have to be Mr. Pink? Why does he get to be Mr. Brown? I mean, everyone fell in love. That they fell in love with Tarantino for his comedy, not his violence, not for his edginess. The first thing he showed the world was his sense of humor, and that allows you to disarm and go along for the ride and go for the vulgarity and all the other stuff, because you joke around with your buddies and you feel comfortable with your friends, and you can do anything against the world with your friends as long as you guys know you have that comfort within each other, and there's nothing you can say that's going to push them away or whatever. That's what he's creating, that vibe, right?
Absolutely. So, Time, what would you first time watch? How would you recommend this film? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a fan of, even if you're not a fan of Tarantino movies, it's still a good movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you love whodunits, you'll love it.
Oh yeah.
If you love chamber pieces, you'll love it.
I mean, you might get offended if you're not used to Tarantino, because there are things that might strike you as offensive, but understand he's trying to be true to the time and to the characters, and that's what the characters say. Tarantino will tell you, I didn't say it, my character said it. I don't know why he said it. That's just what he says, and it goes through my pen.
That's who he is. Yeah.
And I don't know. It's coming from somewhere else through Tarantino.
Yeah. What are some other good chamber piece movies?
Dogville.
Let me think. There's Dogville, Buried. If you've seen Buried with Ryan Reynolds, that one's really good. Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, okay.
And anytime there's 7 or 8 big time actors in one room acting together, that's an ensemble, right?
Yeah.
That's what they consider. It's not really a lead. It's and you can tell because the actors are going to be all around the same level, right? These are all A-list actors or A-B list, right? And you're not going to put a superstar in with a bunch of medium actors, right? So that's how you kind of know it's an ensemble.
Yeah. Room.
You have to say, could this be a play? Like Fast and the Furious could not be a play. You couldn't put that on, but you could put this show on Broadway, right?
Absolutely.
Because
and
it's
I
all
think
in one
he
room.
almost
He
did.
wanted
I think
to,
he
yeah.
almost
I think he
did
wanted
do
to,
that.
Oh, that
yeah.
would be sick. I would love to fucking see that.
Absolutely.
That would be amazing.
Mm.
You know who does that good? David Mamet, the playwright. Glenn Ross. So many films. Red Belt. I mean, he wrote.
What's his
I
name?
mean, so many films.
Alfred Hitchcock has a great movie called Rope, which is a chamber piece. It's all set in one apartment. It also is all one shot. Which
Everything.
Is
Yeah, he does a lot of those, right? What's that Alfred
there's
Hitchcock
heaps.
film that they remade with Shia LaBeouf, where he's the kid and he's
Rear
his
Window?
neighbor's rear window, right?
Did they remake that?
It's been remade
It's
like a
Shia
million
LaBeouf's-
times. Yeah,
I mean, essentially Shia LaBeouf's version
I
is
forgot what it's
based-
called.
It's just the same thing. It's just a different
Okay.
name, you know.
I
It's
love
just like a
Rear Window.
retelling.
It's so
No,
good.
it's a good one.
Rear
That's a
Window's
good movie. That
chamber
Shia
piece,
LaBeouf one is a good one too.
I haven't seen the Shia LaBeouf one. Is it? What's it called? Is
I'm
it called
looking
Rear
I don't
Window?
remember. You could find it real easy.
Okay.
Oh,
Not
Disturbia.
Suburbia. Oh, Disturbia.
Disturbia. Yeah,
Yeah.
watch that.
Yeah. Okay. Would you recommend this film, Pragpro?
No,
No.
I don't like Tarantino. I don't like violence. I don't like comedy. I wanted to see those characters bond in an emotional way. I was
wanted
hoping
to
it
see
was
a
about.
big dance scene.
I wanted to see dancing. I wanted to see them go to a wedding. I thought they were
Yeah.
going to a wedding. I didn't realize they were taking Daisy to the hangman
Yeah,
until later
Yeah.
because in my
They didn't tell
head,
you that.
you thought Daisy was a shotgun bride.
they told
Right.
me, but I chose to believe they were going to a
Mhm.
wedding. That's how my brain works.
Yeah.
So I give it like a 37 out of 100.
So who would Daisy
Now, this is
marry
not
then?
85 out of 100. You
Yeah.
know, that's as
That's
as it gets
good.
for me.
Who would Daisy marry in the cast then? If you're gonna go
Me?
and go with, oh,
She's
you,
so
oh.
cute in this movie.
You.
I love it when
Wow.
she screams, "You gotta use 2 boards!
You gotta use.
Oh,
He's like,
boy.
shut up.
Wait, shut up!" It's a
All
banger.
right. What are we watching next week? It's Pragpro's choice, isn't it?
That's
Where's
right.
Back Precious?
Yeah.
We're watching-
I'm still
why don't
not
we
100% sure.
Watching the stage
Return to
version
Space
of
Mountain.
Bluey. Oh
No, I
this
think
one.
I'm gonna watch Return to Space Mountain. The
Ooh.
Disney
No
film.
way. Is that actually?
No. Fuck you. If I was gonna pick a Disney movie,
Is
I
that a
would
movie?
pick Gus. I would pick Gus.
Yeah. Escape from Witch Mountain? Is that
Witch
what
Mountain,
you
yeah.
said?
There's
He said
3
Return to Space
movies.
Mountain.
There's Return to Witch Mountain, Escape to Witch Mountain. You know what I'm saying? There's
Race
the
to
trilogy.
Witch Mountain.
But I would have
Yeah.
selected Gus. Have you seen Gus?
Mm-mm.
No.
Gus is the story of a mule that kicks field goals in the National Football League. And it was made in the 70s. There's Don Knotts.
Is it a
Listen,
Disney
I-
movie?
Was it
Oh, yeah.
made in? Oh yeah, Don Knotts is 100% Disney movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Don Knotts is the best. You know who my favorite recurring character is in the Disney universe? It's
Don
Don
Knotts.
fucking Knotts. All right,
Was this movie made in tandem with the NFL?
watch it yourself. You tell me.
Don't even, not even gonna answer. Just watch it.
It's janky
Get
as fuck.
your
Okay, it's
answer
like
that way.
Herbie.
Watch
Have
it.
you
So
seen
we're
Herbie,
watching.
the
So we're
Love
watching
Bug?
Gus next week.
No,
Is
we're
that
not
Yeah,
what-
watching Gus.
Watching Gus.
No, we're gonna watch Heat. Put some heat on the stream.
Who
The
directed
Hateful
that,
Eight.
Craig? The
Martin
Hateful Eight.
Scorsese.
Michael Mann
Michael Mann.
It is
okay.
Michael Mann, yes.
from Miami Vice.
This is
Y'all
a
know
Michael
about
Mann
Miami
film I
Vice?
haven't seen.
Y'all know about Al Pacino and De Niro first seen together as actors. The first time they ever, and the only time I think they acted together on the same.
Who's
set.
that? De Niro and
Pacino.
he's there. No, they're together in Irishman.
This is made
well.
before
First
the
time. It's the
Irishman. I
first
said
time.
the first time,
Oh, I thought you said first and only. Okay.
and
No,
they're
no,
in the
first time.
same scene.
yeah.
They've been in other
yeah.
movies, like they're in Godfather 2, right? Godfather 2, but that's a
Yes.
flashback where De Niro's
Yeah.
the young version of Corleone, right?
Yes.
And so,
correct,
yeah, but no, this is a great movie. There's Val Kilmer's in it. It's just a sexy movie. And the gunshot and the bank robbery scene is probably one of the greatest bank heist scenes ever recorded. And Trejo's in this, right?
mhm.
You know,
He's always
Check
quality.
Danny
Sí.
Trejo's in it.
Sí.
You want to talk about Danny Trejo?
Talk about Donnie Trejo.
I want to
talk about Danny
Trejo.
Cabron.
I have to.
minute to talk about Danny Trejo.
I can't do that voice very long.
I have to be honest. I've only seen one Michael Mann film, which is
Miami Vice remake was a fucking flop.
no,
right?
no. It was Collateral, and a lot of people
Collateral's
love
so good, though.
Collateral.
You don't like it?
I
remember.
I did
I don't
not
remember.
like Collateral.
So
no.
we're looking
thought
for
it
a
was so
new
corny.
host of the podcast. I love that movie.
I found Collateral to be so corny.
Michael Mann is one of those guys like Tarantino that's a world builder, right? Everything is stylized. If you think about the TV show Miami Vice, and then transport that to urban Los Angeles in the 90s, 2000s, late 90s, that vibe, the suits, and, it's just like the pinnacle of what was cool in that time period. It's just a cool movie.
Yeah. Like Michael Mann, I've heard he's like fantastic. I really want to watch his adaptation of Red Dragon, Manhunter.
Manhunter. Yes, I was just going to say that. That's the one. Yeah, that's a good one. That's good.
Yeah. But
he has a lot of stinkers.
I'm really looking forward to watch Heat because he's also planning on making a second one. He's had that script floating around for years and years.
I don't like that.
Like part 2? Whoa.
Yeah, Heat 2. But apparently the script is amazing, Prag. Like it's been.
I'll allow it if it's amazing. It's like anything else, right? But the level has to be much higher, and for a sequel, it's tough.
He also did the Ferrari movie.
Yeah, which I haven't seen yet.
I haven't seen that one either.
Ford v Ferrari was really good, so it's got to be better.
He understands style. He understands style.
He did Last of Mohicans. I saw that movie.
Oh yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis. You haven't seen
Black Hat?
Oh my God.
He did that Black Hat movie.
Black Hat.
That might be Daniel Day-Lewis's breakout performance in Last of the Mohicans.
It was, wasn't it?
I think so.
Was My Left Foot before that or after that?
I don't remember. Very close. Very, very similar. But that was a big movie.
I mean, I love him in Age of Innocence. He's so good in that. If you've seen that,
My Left Foot was 3 years before.
I haven't seen it in a minute.
Gangs of New York, good one.
Gangs of New York. Yeah, we're just talking about Daniel.
Are we talking about Daniel Day-Lewis or Michael Mann now? Because Daniel Day-Lewis is flawless.
We're just going back and forth.
Let me explain something to you. I could do a whole podcast series on Daniel Day-Lewis.
Speaking of the Lincoln Letter,
he
was in Lincoln.
Daniel Day-Lewis is so bad.
He's fantastic.
This is how bad he is. He just quit acting. He said, "I fucking did this shit.
Said, I did all there is to do.
Now I'm just making loafers full time in my cobbler shop because I'm so.
They're not going to make me a Marvel villain. I'm out of here.
I'm the fucking sickest one out here. I've already acted. You've seen me act. I can't do any better. That's it." Drops
Have you guys seen Phantom Thread, his last film?
Oh my god, that's my favorite movie.
Incredible.
It's literally the funniest movie I've ever seen in my life.
So good. Yeah.
And time is going to be like, I don't understand. It's not funny. He's not doing anything funny. It's the subtext. It's the
subtext.
rhythm. It's how he's the way he's like over.
I need your funny in the forefront.
The way he orders his eggs. The way Daniel Day-Lewis orders his breakfast in the Phantom Thread when he meets the shop girl, right? It's so sick. It's so cool. It's so fresh. He's literally fresh to fucking death.
Speaking of Phantom, 25 years ago, Phantom Menace came out today.
Is that what you're doing next?
Segues.
Is that your next film time?
Well, I have to keep it on the Disney Plus. That's all.
What's after Heat? Do we even know?
No idea. No fucking clue.
Who's next after me?
Me.
That's time.
Okay, you don't know? Do we know what your movie is?
I don't know.
Should I just start watching Nickelodeon movies now?
I'm leaning towards 2 movies.
I picked the right one.
I don't know if I should say what the movies are, but I'm leaning towards 2
Don't
of them
say
right
it.
Go ahead.
Don't say it yet.
Okay.
You can say it.
Wait till later.
Oh my God.
Thank
Mitchell,
you for listening.
You're gonna edge me. You're gonna edge me to the point of
don't call him Mitchell.
Don't call him. I'm so excited right now. I'm gonna split. Your name is on the screen.
Don't current name him. Do not current name him.
I don't like it.
But it's on the screen, so put your name that you like. Put your own special name there.
Whatever.
Koopy.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Three Grandmas podcast. You guys are. This has been so much fun.
Great. A lot of fun. A lot of fun this week. A lot of fun.
Talking about one of my favorite movies, The Hateful Eight. This has been incredible. Well done, everyone.
We'll see you guys next week.
Lance show. Do you want to rate Lance? Hold on. Before we go out, do you want to rate Lance?
I don't know. He's not even on. He's on. I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to see you in the Lance show because we're going to do that next, right?
We're going to Lance_from_Saints. We're going to go to church. That's what we're doing. Bye, guys. Thank you. Bye, guys. Bye.